had us a good one here to end the regular season. Scott Adamson with AdamsonMedia.com covers the Birmingham Stallions. And your takeaways here from this regular season finale?
It was a sloppy game, right. And I think we talked about it before. I just kind of figured this was going to be a game where, both teams kind of shut everything down, right. But it was still really competitive. And when you listen to the coaches and the players talk afterwards, especially the players, Jay Sternberger of the Stallions, he said, look, we're trying to get back in the NFL. We can't afford to take a day off. So he said, regardless of the fact that we're playing again next week in the playoffs, we took this game very seriously. And, it turned out to be fun. A last-second field goal goes, wide right? And, fun ending.
It was. Now, you mentioned it there. This was really not a high-stakes game for a few reasons. Birmingham was going to play here anyway against Michigan because Ford Field was taken, even if Michigan had won that number 1 seed.
Right.
Were you surprised to see Adrian Martinez play as much as he played the whole game?
No, I was. Honestly, what I thought we'd see is because I knew that based on the depth chart he was going to start,
right.
But I thought maybe he'd run 2 or 3 series
right.
and then Corral would come in.
Yeah.
But for him to go the distance, and then the fact that he was sacked 5 times, I kept thinking, okay, this is the sack where Skip's going to take him out of the game, but it didn't happen. So obviously, as we said, they took it very seriously today.
No question. Your assessment here of the game just now, but also your assessment, let's talk about this regular season and how it has gone for Birmingham. To me, I know they had one trip up here, but, I think Birmingham Stallions fans are a little bit spoiled with all the winning. They had just a little bit of a trip up, but this seems like maybe they kind of got back on track if they were off track at all. That's my assumption, and that was my takeaway. How about you?
Yeah, I'll tell you the one thing, though, my takeaway was really from Michigan because they were still, when you talk to Coach Nolan afterwards, they were still down so many players. And he said that even if today had been a playoff
right.
game, they couldn't have played.
Yeah.
But he said he thinks he'll have them back next week. And I really think next week could be a dandy. Yeah. I really do. I mean, Michigan has obviously gotten stronger as the season has gone on. I think when Birmingham played them the first time in week 2, they had 47 rushing yards
right.
for the
right.
game.
Right.
They had that in the first quarter today. Yeah. And that's without their top running back. So they're a very good team. And, I think next week we might see something similar, at least is how close it's going to be.
I got out of the prognostication business after the first preseason. I tried to run down all the team's records, and I did very poorly, I'll say that. But so I'll put you on the spot here. What do you expect next week? As you said, you think it's going to be a good one here, but what do you expect to see here? Do you expect to see more than an announced crowd of 7,000 people, number one?
Well, it's going to be June 8th. It's going to be 92 degrees based on the early weather forecast. Right. So, the crowds just simply haven't been good.
Yeah.
I mean, and with TV production as good as that is, it's just easier a lot of times for people to stay home. But I'm thinking maybe 10 or 12,000. Okay. Hope I'm wrong, but just based on what I've seen, that's what I would predict.
Well, either way, the Birmingham Stallions look poised to be, maybe right back going into, or at least trying to get a third straight spring championship. But as we said, Michigan, they looked awfully good, even shorthanded. So it'll be interesting to see what does happen next week. You can read Scott Adamson at AdamsonMedia.com, covers all things alt football, and also one of the greatest short story writers that you're going to see out there.
Thank you.
Well, of course. Appreciate it, and be sure to stay tuned right here on John Lewis Sports for all your alt football coverage.